Hey everybody, Kevin Purcell for GottaBeMobile.com, and I've got the Nvidia Shield TV. This is a new Android TV that's a pretty powerful one with kind of gaming in mind first. Nvidia sees this kind of as a gaming console that can also do streaming TV. And it has this nice kind of wedge shape to it. If you look at the side of the device, we can see the inputs on the back there. Notice that it's got a couple of things here. First of all, this is a micro SD card slot. This is the micro USB. That's what it's used to. You can plug in a micro USB wire into that. You might want to put storage in it or other things, control things. You can put a keyboard, anything. It's got two USB 3.0 ports. All three of these can be used for data or for charging up the controllers and the remotes. Here it has a dedicated Ethernet port for faster networking. It also has an HDMI out port, and it's got the latest HDMI on there. And then this is the power port that you use to plug in so that you can power the thing. Now we're going to look at the side of it. You can sort of see that wedge shape where it's a little bit thicker in the back and kind of thinner in the front. Kind of looks cool. We'll look at the front. There's nothing along the front or the sides of it, but we'll just give you a look. Now the other side. You can really see the wedge shape there. Underneath, on the bottom, there's nothing really to see. But on the top, we don't have it plugged in, but right along here there's a green LED light that glows to show that it's got power. Now the Nvidia Shield TV comes with the gaming controller. That's another signal that Nvidia sees this as a gaming system first. But you can also buy for $50 the remote. You'd say $50 is a lot for a remote, but that's a great remote. It actually is one of the nicest remotes that we've seen. First we'll talk about the remote. It's the simplest. It doesn't have a lot of buttons. It's got microphone, and what you do is you hold that down and speak into it, and you got voice search. So for example, I could say go to Netflix, just like with an Xbox Connect. These are directional, and then this is kind of a select button. Here's your home and back button. And then down here, this is a slider. This is touch sensitive, and it's a volume slider. So you don't need to pull up your TV remote in order to do it. Also, this is, on the back, it's got that nice metal feel to it. Excellent construction. Pretty sturdy. You don't have to worry about it if you throw this thing around. A few games in the App Store say that they are remote compatible. In other words, you can play a few of them. Like Crossy Roads, a few of these, you just use the directional pad. It's kind of like gaming on the Roku. It's not too great, but it's something you can do. You'll also notice that there is a mic jack on it, or headphone jack on it. It's Bluetooth capable, and so what happens here is you plug in your earbuds or headphones so that, let's say it's late at night and you're not disturbing someone else that's in the room with you. It charges through a micro USB port, and the USB cables that come with it are also pretty good quality. Now here's the controller. I'm going to have my son pick up the controller so he can sort of show you how it feels in the hand. And it's sort of like your typical Xbox, PlayStation style controller. He says it reminds him of which controller system?
The OnLive controller.
It's a lot like the OnLive controller. Notice it's got the typical 4 buttons on the back, the trigger buttons on the back. And then, of course, it's got the directional gamepad, the 2 analog sticks, and then, of course, the 4 control buttons. Now, this sort of upside-down V, or upside-down triangle, or V-shaped part here in the middle, those are touch sensitive. And notice that the circle is just like the circle on the remote. It's a home button. Then we have back and forth. And then that's kind of the Nvidia wake up button there in the center. On the bottom we have play and pause features.
Just volume.
I'm sorry, volume up and down features to control volume on it. And it also has a mic built in, but there's also a headphone jack. Show the headphone jack there. and a micro USB charging port on there. That way, if it gets to the point where it's nearly dead, the battery's nearly dead, it'll work. You can just plug it in. Both of these batteries last a long time. We've had it for a little over a week, no, almost 2 weeks now, and have really only charged them once the first time and then one other time after that. So they're pretty good. Alright, now we're gonna... Alright, so at this point we're going to show you the user interface so you can get an idea of what it looks like. So this is the Nvidia Shield TV user interface. This is kind of the home screen. Across the top here we have suggested things that you might want to look at, like TED Talks, and we just opened the Fox News app, and so there's a whole bunch of Fox News. It seems to put things from the most recent app that you looked at. Now we go down, and this row shows stream games, downloaded games, and Netflix. Netflix kind of gets a primo spot right there on the Shield hub. Below that is all the games that you've already installed, and then below that are apps that are not games. And then at the very bottom we see things like settings, network settings, Shield accessories, and the power button. And we'll open up Pac-Man. It's the first time we've opened it since installing it. Kind of give you an idea of how well the Shield TV works. Now, we just lowered the sound. There's a sound controller on the controller so that you can control the sound from the controller without having to worry about your the volume button on your TV. And so as you can see, it looks like pretty much traditional Pac-Man. You can get this in the Play Store and have a good time playing Pac-Man. As you can see, it's got stream games. We'll go in there. These are games that come from the Nvidia Grid. Nvidia Grid is a streaming game service. These games are being hosted on Nvidia's servers and streamed, sort of like the what's that old system called that we have?
OnLive.
Sort of like the OnLive system did, and it has a little bit older games, not the latest and greatest from this year. Most of these are sort of last year's games, but go into one of these and play one. We'll go into Batman Arkham Origins, which is a fun game to play. Alright, so we notice it's taking a little while to load. And of course, that's part of that is because it is streaming the game, and so it's loading it from the internet. This will be based on your internet speed. We have a pretty fast connection. Alright, now we're finally in Batman's actual gameplay. Looks pretty smooth, and while the graphics aren't, most recent generation Xbox One quality graphics, it looks fairly good, and for a streaming gaming service, I don't think anybody's going to be disappointed considering what it is. My son Daniel, who's quite a bit more of a gamer than I am, is helping me test this out. Daniel, what do you think of the gameplay on the Shield TV?
I think it's pretty awesome.
Comparing it to Xbox One, and comparing it to maybe an older Xbox 360?
Yeah. I like this game.
Alright, so it's previous generation quality, maybe not current gen quality, but it's still pretty good. Notice that it shows it in the background, so you can still kind of go back to where you were. Well, that's basically the interface, and we'll go into the Google Play Store now. Notice that it doesn't have all the apps that you can run on any kind of Android device. These apps are games or apps that are made to work with the Android TV user interface. But you got quite a bit here, and there are still some apps that are missing. Things like HBO Go, some of the network TV apps. The ones that you'd want on it, since it's a streaming TV service, aren't there yet, which is kind of disappointing. But there's still quite a bit, and I think it's going to improve. I hope it's going to improve over time. Plenty of music services here to choose from. Shield TV, in my opinion, is a great system. It's only hampered by a couple of things. First of all, there aren't as many quality apps on it, and the gaming the games aren't the latest and greatest games. But it's not meant to replace an Xbox. It's kind of, I think, meant to either supplement it. The only time you'd say it would replace it is if you just can't afford a $300 Xbox and you just want a $200 system. That brings us to the price. This one is $200 for 16 gigabytes of storage. But as we said, it has the USB ports on the back, and so you can add your own storage to it. That's why I don't think it's really necessary to get the Pro version, which has a 500 gigabyte hard drive inside. But if you want to, that would be your choice. It's an extra $100 for that, making it a $300 system. I call this a buy. I'm really pleased with it. It's become my primary streaming TV service. I haven't hardly even used my Roku box. I almost never use my Apple TV anymore. The Fire TV stick is something I barely use. I haven't used much of any of the other ones. By the way, if you are an Android lover, you can use it to cast their screen like you can with a Chromecast, and so that replaces a Chromecast as well. You can unplug your Chromecast, maybe throw it in your bag and use it more as a portable device. I'm pretty pleased with the Nvidia Shield TV. It's kind of made me want to look at some of their other products like the Nvidia Shield tablet, and that's a good sign. That says that it's a very high quality device. I think you'd be pleased with it. This has been Kevin Purcell for GottaBeMobile with the Nvidia Shield TV. Thanks for watching.